So it's all logic. It's helping them see, take your seller hat off, put a buyer hat on. Here's your three options.
Welcome to Behind the Frame, where we go beyond the LinkedIn bios and Instagram highlight reels to talk about what really happens when you're building something from scratch. I'm Jay Duffy, co-founder of Frame Wealth Partners, business owner, husband, dad, and guy who still wonders if winging it counts as a legitimate growth strategy. Spoiler, it does sometimes. Join me and my amazing co-hosts, Morgan Watson and Annette Quigley, as we sit down with someone who's built a business or is knee-deep in the messy middle of it. And we talk about the real stuff, the pivots, the late nights, the wins no one celebrated, and the lessons no one warned them about. So grab a coffee or something stronger. We're going behind the frame. Welcome back to Behind the Frame, episode number 4, the podcast where we pull back the curtain on what it really takes to build, survive, and maintain your business here as a business owner. I'm Jay Duffy, and with me, as always, is my Magnolia mouthpiece, Morgan Watson. That's my new nickname for you, Magnolia Mouthpiece.
It changes every week.
It does. I'm going to pick a new one every one.
All right, I'm good.
So Morgan, let's start our show as we always do. What's the weekend win for you?
Yeah, so weekend win, as you know, our middle one went off to college this year. And so we had to take him, and he and my wife are very, very close. So strategic planning on my part. When we were packing the car, we didn't quite have enough room in one car, so we had to take two. Plan, in all transparency, so that for the next 3.5 hours on the drive home, I didn't have to listen to Mary Dawson cry.
Oh, nice.
So I thought that was a pretty good win. I could at least, honey, the service is breaking up. So it gave me a little bit of non-crying on the drive home. So that's good.
That's good.
Yeah. How about with you?
So we had James's 10th birthday. So we went to
Cinco,
number
5.
Yeah, he's James the 5th. And we went to Hershey Park, where he conquered some fears and got on a bunch of roller coasters that he's never been on. And every time he was freaking out, but he was like, I want to go again. So we conquered a lot of fears. He brought some friends. We had a good time.
So bigger question, did mom or dad conquer fears?
Oh, I was on every roller coaster. My wife was very selective with
very strategic.
Very, very strategic.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and great segue, talk about fears. And, as business owners, we face a lot of those. Yeah. So I know Nick's with us, and he's a good friend of yours as well.
Yep.
So if you wouldn't mind introducing
Absolutely. So
guest.
Yeah, we're so friends. No, I've known Nick for quite some time. He's only not only running one of the top real estate teams for Keller Williams, but he's also become a very, very I would say most trusted voice in the real estate market here in Maryland. Nick, I want to welcome you to our Behind the Frame podcast, where we're going to really grill you with some questions today.
I'm ready to be grilled. I mean, if you want to start off with my win for the weekend.
Yeah,
absolutely.
My oldest is 7, and we've been pushing in golf. I figure it's the only sport that if he starts playing now, I can play with him until I'm like 80.
Yeah.
So he was doing his Operation 36, which is you need to get a 36 in 9 holes from 50 yards out.
Okay.
So every hole is a par 4, always from 50 yards. He starts off the day with a 5 and then a 7. Ooh. And I'm thinking, there's no way we're going to do this. And then he comes back and hits a 4, 3, 3, 3, 4, gets down to the very last hole, is in a great mood. He misses it by 1 stroke, but we improved 8 strokes from the last time he played.
That's
and
impressive.
So it was like just having that failure early on and not giving up and continue to work hard. Like, it was fantastic.
It's almost like you talk about it a lot where
you
want to put your kids in positions where they're definitely going to fail.
Oh, absolutely. Ever since they were young, we did that. And in our family to this day, we kind of say, the saying is ice cream makes everything better. Because when they're really young and they fail at something, they're upset. Ice cream makes everything better, right? Go get an ice cream, worst day in the world, you got an ice cream, everybody's happy.
Yep.
So to your point, I think having those kind of failures and knowing how to overcome them, not only for business owners, but more so as kids. So we always did that real young.
Yeah.
So Nick, kicking things off, again, welcome to the podcast. Tell us your story. How did we get Nick Waldner and Waldner Winters Team to where it is today?
Yeah, so I've been in the real estate space for 21 years. Prior to that, I mean, so I graduated in Carroll County, Liberty High School, which is a top high school in the Sykesville area.
Well, I mean,
The number one
Right.
name, Liberty in the area.
The number one Liberty High School ever.
schools in the area. So, good.
So from Liberty, I couldn't leave Maryland, so I ended up going to Salisbury. And my first semester there, I decided this summer, I don't want to go home. I want to go to the beach. So I went down there, and I was either going to be a lifeguard, a barback, or a scopes guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it, but scopes is basically you run up and down the beach all day. You sell. There's no hourly. There's no anything. You eat what you kill.
And I do want to stop you here because I've been with you to the beach, and you're being stopped for autographs. Hey, that's the original Scopes guy. Right?
I'm literally still connected. The owner of it now is a guy that I hired and trained, so I'm still part of it, but in a very far off place. But anyway, I did that for 6 years and running that business, and we're talking about $5 keychains. We sold $1.2 million in $5 keychains over a 3-month period. So it is a true sales job. Okay. It is not anything but. So when I got out of that, I had that Peter Pan syndrome, and I was like, I can't live at the beach for the rest of my life. So my mentor and my boss at the time, I said, let's get into something. He said, let's do a franchise. So we researched and found Cold Stone Creamery, the ice cream franchise that makes everything better.
Absolutely.
We got into that. We bought the area developership for Maryland, Delaware, DC, Pennsylvania, the lower half of New Jersey, upper half is all mob, and Delaware.
Yeah.
And we built 56 stores our first year. We built 59 our second year. We were the fastest growing franchisee in history, and everything was going gangbuster. And my job was the commercial real estate side of it. And, if we're going to get really, really vocal or really honest, my partner started sleeping with our secretary.
Oh.
And it was, I'm 23 at the time, and it is like, I'm deep into this business. This is my mentor over the last 6 years. And all of a sudden there was this moral dilemma that I can't be a part of this. I don't want to be anywhere associated with this. So I went into his office and I said, you got to fix this. You need to apologize to your wife. You need to stop, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And he treated me like a 22-year-old kid and said, get out of my office. It's my life.
Right.
Yeah.
And I walked out of the office, picked up the phone, called my mom, who had been in residential real estate for 30 plus years at that point.
Yeah.
And I literally just said, hey, I'm thinking about coming over to residential real estate. What do you think? And my mom was like, what? Everything's going so well, but yeah, if you want to, I'll teach you everything. Yeah. And that was the moment that I was like, I'm done. Wow. Everything I was building, I was like, I sold all my shares back. I got, I took my entire ownership out of the business, got my little paycheck, walked out, and I was done.
Wow.
And that's what started me in residential real estate. And having a background in franchise, if you go to McDonald's in any country around the world, you get the same fry and the same burger.
Yeah.
That's what a franchise is.
Oh, yeah.
So I took that to real estate. My mom was a fantastic real estate agent, but she ran by the seat of her pants, and she was just an entrepreneur to the eighth degree. Yeah. And I came in and was like, let's create systems, let's create processes, let's hire people, let's build a business out of this.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Wow.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned in talking about mentorship. A big part of why we do this is we see so much success is dependent upon who you learn from, the things to do, the things not to do. So really a lot of our reason for this podcast is to give business owners the opportunity to find or learn from mentorship that maybe they don't have that direct connection to.
Yeah, I found it's my mom, right?
Yep.
So our moms are going to do anything for us.
Yep.
And in my mind, I was like, okay, that means business too. And I will give her credit for, I could call her Friday night at 11 p.m., Monday morning at 6 a.m. Like, it didn't matter at the time. If I needed something, if I had a question, if I needed help, she was there.
Okay.
But on the other side of that, just like when I turned 16, she's like, you want a car? Go get a job.
Yeah.
I said, all right, I need some business. She said, great. My business is my business. You got to create your own. Yeah. You will not take a single client from me. We're not going to work anything together. Like, you will live or die based on what you go out and build. And it was that type of tough love where she was there for every question. She was there to teach me everything, but I had to do it on my own. Like that's the mentorship that I started putting into my practice, and every agent on my team goes through that same process.
Wow, that's great. What now I know working with mom early on, mom's kind of out of the business.
Yeah, so Waldner Winters Team, my mom remarried when I was in the 3rd grade, so she became Diane Waldner Winters. Okay. When I got into business and I was like, let's do a team. And my mom was like, yeah, no, I don't need you. And I, good. So I started going on appointments and I started meeting with people, and they would always look at me and they would, like, before I even opened my mouth, they would look at me and they'd go,
how old are you?
How old are you? Because I looked like I was 11. And I would say, Jay, I think what you're actually asking is, what's my experience and why should you hire me? And let me tell you a little bit about me and my background and my mom and her process and blah, blah, blah. And I would never say my age. But then all of a sudden I started showing a picture of my mom and I started talking about our team and our process. And I created the entire Waldner Winters team without a Winters. She wasn't on the team. She wasn't part of it. I had 7 people working for me by the time I convinced her to join the team.
That she's got her name in.
Yes. And then when she finally joined, in 2.5 months, she called me one day and said, I'm going to Europe with my sisters for 3 weeks. I think I'm retiring from real estate. I'm good.
Good.
And that was it. So in 21 years, Winters was on the team for 3 months.
That's like an homage.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, wow.
100%.
Now, what was, working with mom, what was the biggest hurdle for you, you would say? What was the toughest part? Because when you work with, I worked with my mom. I had my mom. She became part of our business for a little bit. She was an assistant, and I remember the very first day that I had her here, and I'm leading at the time as a regional director. I was leading, I think, about 40-ish advisors, and I walked out to her. She's in a cube. I said, "Hey, Mom, I need you to do this, 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 and this, and you can't do it this way. Do it this way." And she literally turned around to me and she goes, "Look, this is the first day, Nick. I have fried bigger fish than you." because of the tone that I used. I was like, "Mama, I need you to step in my office." And I was like, "You can't talk to me." I was like, "I am your boss here. You can't talk to me in this office this way."
You're embarrassing me, Mom.
Come on. But it was a great relationship in working together and getting to work with my mom.
So the good news is I was the assistant. So we didn't have any of those problems. I was like, what are you doing next? And I was like, why didn't you do it this way? And the last one, you did this, but you didn't do it on this one. And my mom was like, oh, I forgot. And I was like, well, I'm going to write that down. We're going to do it every time. So it was very much like my mom, luckily I had you guys have both read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my life growing up. I had divorced parents. My dad worked for the city. He was a firefighter. He spent 39.5 years in Baltimore City, getting to chief of the fire department and all that. But it was very much a blue collar job, a work for the government, a build a pension. And my mom was the opposite. Didn't go to college, got into sales after my parents got divorced and ended up flourishing. She did a lot of investing. Yeah. She did a lot of the things that you would see Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I remember my college was paid for by the houses that she bought when we were younger as rental properties, and they turned into our college. So I literally read the book when I think I was 18 or 19. And then I looked up and realized, oh my God, I have rich mom, poor dad.
Yeah.
And I made a very quick decision. I'm going towards mom on
that one wasn't too hard to figure out.
There you go. The Waldner Winters Team is grown. I mean, talk to me a little bit about how much it's grown since you kind of took over. You said you had 7 at one point. How big is the team? And then I guess what's your biggest, you're not really out there anymore just doing the real estate side of it.
How dare you?
You're leading a team now, a huge team.
Yeah, it's definitely a different position than I was. I cut my teeth running around, showing properties, writing contracts, negotiating, like all the things you think of as a real estate agent. And the truth is, real estate is no different from any other industry. Mm-hmm. The amount of times we're showing properties, writing offers, and negotiating is 5% of our week.
Yeah.
The other 95% is creating relationships, building those relationships, helping people when they need help. And it's about that lead generation and lead follow-up, which is 95% of our day. But everybody sees the TV shows that are like, oh, they walk around nice houses, they dress up in 9-inch heels, and they go to brokers' opens and fight. We don't do any of that.
Yeah.
Bravo would be so bored with us because we actually just run a business.
Right.
But to the point is I realized that I got really excited to help somebody, whether they were buying their first home or their move up buy when they got that new job, or they were downsizing because the kids were off to school. I love that feeling and the closeness I got. But I'm also a sensitive guy. Like when I get close with a client, we're texting and calling every single day. 45, 90 days later, the deal is done.
The relationship's gone.
Hello?
Yeah. What happened?
Do you miss me? Can we still talk every day?
Yeah.
Like it was weird for me. I was like, I felt like I knew the names of their kids, their dogs. I knew everything going on in their life, and then gone. Like relationship. And then 7 years from now, they would call me and we'd pick right back up, and it was great. But I didn't love the feeling of those 90-day relationships. So I remember I hired my first agent. At first, you start off with some admin and helping with the backside. And then I hired my first agent, and we worked together hip to hip every single day, and training and teaching him and really mentoring him the same way my mom mentored me. And I remember the first time he got a house under contract, and we celebrated. And then one weekend where he put 2 houses under contract, and we had a big celebration. And then he was like, I think I met the one, and he got engaged, and we celebrated. And it was like month after month, year after year, I was part of everything in his world. I was helping him succeed. You know, I have agents on my team that were making $40,000 when we first met, and they're making a heck of a lot more. It's changed their life. It's changed their, their trajectory. And that feeling of being part of that for 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years, that's what really pushes me now.
I have a follow-up question because, again, you're hitting on a lot of really good points because you started out as a solid, successful solo agent, doing it yourself. You know, mom's not giving you anything. She's teaching you, but you're doing it all yourself. And for a lot of business owners, they're usually really good technicians in whatever career that they're doing. And they're like, I can do this on my own and really be a business owner. So I'm going to leave my job and do this on my own. You went from being a solo agent to building a pretty massive team pretty quickly.
Everything looks quickly in the rear view.
Yeah.
It didn't feel quick.
Right.
It was all of a sudden, but it took forever to get there. But I think that
what was the transition for you? Like, I got to be a leader as opposed to just a solo real estate agent.
Yeah, I think the best philosophy or the best example of that is you cannot be the coach on the field. I can't coach a basketball team if I'm on the field playing. I have to step off and see the field from afar and tell the players where to go and set the plays and see what their defense is doing and see how they're scoring on us. And all of a sudden, I'm setting the different processes of what we need to do to win that game. If I'm in the heat of the game and I'm running up and down the court with them, I don't have that 30,000-foot view.
Yeah.
And it is the hardest thing in the world. And you see it all the time in sports. The best players don't always make the best coaches.
No.
And that transition is tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So question, and I don't know how to ask this delicately.
No, you don't have to be delicate.
Okay, good. I know in your industry, there's kind of 3 types of agents, so to speak. Kind of that career full-time person, the person that kind of does it part-time, and the person it's kind of a hobby, right? How do you manage those different, or there's only certain ones you're looking for? Or do you have to have different relationships with each type?
Yeah, so I'll blow your mind. 50% of people with a real estate license did not sell a house last year.
Yeah.
What?
I wouldn't even call that a hobby.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the point?
Right.
But all of a sudden you hear, everybody knows a real estate agent.
Okay.
And if you talk to anybody, they're like, yeah, I'm a great real estate agent. Unless you do a little digging and you actually check, not everybody's good. 50% didn't sell a house. Yeah. And then you have another like 35 to 40% who sold anywhere from 3 to 7 houses.
Okay.
Which again, if you're doing anything 3 to 7 times a year, you're not going to be that good at it.
Yep.
And then you have the upper echelon that are selling 30, 40, 80, 100, 150 homes.
Wow.
Yep.
That's where all of a sudden the success starts to show up. And that's who you want. You want the experienced agent who has their finger on the pulse and does 5 or 6 every single month, not 5 or 6 over a year.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But, when we're hiring, we're looking for the full-time agents. If somebody says I'm part-time or I'm a hobby, it's great meeting you. Good luck in your world.
Yeah.
Do you see any of those that are part-time or hobby that they're there maybe because they haven't had the right leadership, or is it more just that's who they are?
Yeah, I love that you asked that. We have an agent on my team who is fantastic. She was working for another team, another brokerage for 3.5 years. And I remember her husband coming up to me at one of our holiday parties. And he said, I don't know if you know this, but my wife operated in the red for 3.5 years. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, if I took the amount of money we invested in her business and then subtracted her commissions, we lost money every year.
Wow.
And I was like, you're kidding. And he was like, it was my wife, so I was going to support her. But when she found you guys, and now she's been with us for 5 or even 6 years, and she's now at the point where she's making more money than he is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, oh, this is great. You can just keep this up. I don't mind at
Best
all.
thing ever.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But she's a perfect example of when put in the right environment, surrounded by the right people,
Right team.
she succeeded at the highest level. And what we found is if you look at like Harvard studies and what they've done about how do people succeed, do you know what the number one thing is a determining factor of success? Take a guess.
Environment.
It's who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to have a rock hard 6-pack like Jay, then you hang out with 6 other people who have the same thing, and you watch their eating habits and their workout habits and their diets and all the supplements they take. And all of a sudden you start to become that.
Yeah.
Just like if you hang out with your buddy from high school who still goes to the bar every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're probably going to end up doing the same thing.
Yep.
So who you surround yourself with, if everyone around you is selling 4, 5, 6 houses a year, you're going to fall right in line.
Absolutely.
No, 100%. And I've also found that you can absolutely mold and guide what people have in them to get to that outcome, but you can't implant it in them, right? It is what it is. It's in there. Maybe they haven't uncovered it yet. Maybe they hadn't figured out how to maximize it, but it's really hard to implant a drive or a determination into someone if they don't have it.
Yeah, I butt my head against this all the time is you can't want it more than they do.
We say that all the time.
I can't tell you how many people that I'm like, this person is so close. And then I have to stop and realize it's me who wants it,
Yep.
not them.
Yep.
Yep.
I
100%.
got one more final question before we move into our next segment. If you had to pick one lesson from entrepreneurship that applies to any business, not just real estate, what would it be?
Yeah, easy. Discipline and consistency. It is literally the same thing over and over and over again. And the problem with entrepreneurs is we get bored. We want the next shiny object. We want the next silver bullet. We think this next thing that we found at a trade show is going to change our business. And, my mentor has always said, get comfortable in the boredom.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And it really could be anything. Like Jack, again, my oldest, is trying out for lacrosse, and his cousin just got cut from that team. So we know it's a hard team to make. And his tryout is going to be sometime in the next 2 weeks. We don't know when. So one of the things I said is if you want this, and one, I kind of hope he fails because I think that's good for him. But number 2, I said, if you want this, you need to have 100 touches every single day with your lacrosse stick. So last night we got home from soccer practice. It's 8:00 at night. His mom's like, get him in the shower, get him to bed. What are you doing? We were outside making our 100 catches before he was able to go in. And it wasn't me pushing him.
Yeah.
I'm just very clear. If you want to win and you want to be on that team, you've got to touch it 100 times every single day, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, whatever, because that's how you develop the skill compared to some other kid who naturally might be a better player, but doesn't put in the practice.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my favorite stories, Pat Summitt, who was the women's basketball coach at Tennessee forever, Hall of Famer. Her son got cut from the middle school basketball team. And her initial response was, I'm a big deal here in Tennessee, and how would someone ever cut my son off the JV team? But she's like, all right, I can't approach it that way. So she sat down with him and said, all right, Tyler, what are you looking to do? What do you want? Oh, Mom, I want to play basketball in high school. And she said, all right, I will train you like it's one of my players. I'll be there every day for you, but I won't start your engine. You've got to be the one that wants to do that. And I think that's really, really critical. Is I always tell my kids, if they've got the drive, I'll do the drive. If they want to do something and they're motivated to do it, I'll drive them there whenever it is, but they've got to want to do it. I can't, if I've got to wake you up in the morning to go do it, we're not going.
100%. So it's that, and in business, it's even harder because there isn't somebody to drive you there.
Yep.
There isn't always a program or a position you can just follow. So you have to get up and do those things every day. I mean, I'm sure you guys are getting hit over the head with AI stuff right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm spending 30 minutes every single day researching, listening to a podcast, reading a book. And I've started doing this lately where I get in my car and I turn on ChatGPT and we have a conversation. And I'm like, well, what do you think about this? And here's what I'm working on. And here's what I'm struggling with. And I'm just literally having a conversation with this weird AI thing. And then I said to it, tell me about myself. And it was like, well, some of the things you want is learning and growth and some of the ways you grow businesses, blah, blah, blah. And it was unbelievably accurate.
Yeah.
So now when I ask it questions, it feeds me back. Well, based on your real estate business and based on your goals and based on what you're looking for, I suggest this, this, and this.
Wow.
And it's unbelievable the amount of input that you put in, and it remembers everything. So, and I'll tell, like, I just read this book, Endless Customers by Marcus Sheridan, and he's a buddy of mine, and we were just sharing a stage, and I went to AI and I was like, hey, I was just with Marcus Sheridan and here's the book he read. I want you to read the book and make sure that I'm implementing the things and the theories in this book when you're answering my questions. And I just keep giving it new books and giving it new theories and giving it new thoughts. And then it comes back and it's like, well, Nick, before you do that, remember in Marcus's book, he said, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's right. It's amazing how much 15 to 30 minutes a day, every day, and what that does.
Oh, yeah.
You've mentioned, and I'm sorry, we're going to run long on this, but I've
No, this
noticed
is good.
quite a few times you've mentioned different books and articles. I'm a big believer, Jay's a big believer, is leaders are readers and readers are leaders. And, you know, have you always been a big reader of things? Has this kind of grown as you've grown as a business owner?
No, I've not been a big reader.
Okay.
There's no part of me that's like, I can't wait to curl up with a book.
Yeah.
It's just not in my nature. However, just like you said, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers.
Yep.
So for me, it is, I have to. It's what I need to do. And a lot of the times I find books that I really get into, but I find that if I just read them in one ear out the other. So I really am the type of person who pulls out a notepad. I'm taking notes. I'm writing stuff down. I'm highlighting things. And a mentor of mine, I just talked to him the other day and he said, the dumbest question that people ask me is, hey, Gary, what are you reading right now? Hey, Gary, what are you reading right now? And he said, and I'm always nice and I tell him when I'm reading, but what I want to truly say, this is behind closed doors, is what I want to say is, it doesn't matter what I'm reading. It matters what you're trying to do, who you're trying to become, where you're trying to grow in your life. You should be choosing books based on what you're trying to accomplish,
100%.
not whatever the latest book that everybody's talking about.
Totally agree. Totally agree. All right, we're going to move on to our hot or not segment. This is going to be, somewhat fast paced.
I think you're both hot.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. This is really just simple, lightning round type questions. You tell us if it's hot or not. Feel free to elaborate.
7.
That's not how this works, but I like your spin on it. Open houses in today's market, hot or not?
Absolutely. Got to do them. Got to get that marketing. Got to get vision. You're getting people in the door.
Yeah. Okay.
Virtual shows and 3D tours.
3D tours, 100%. Virtual staging, 100% no. Okay. People don't want to walk into a house thinking what they saw online and they show up to a cold, dark, empty house.
Wow. Great point. House flipping in Maryland right now.
Still is all about the deal. I'm finishing one right now. I've got another project we just started last week. 100% still there. However, it's a lot harder to find the deals.
Okay.
Oh, and if you're not into it, stop looking. Don't compete with me. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone should be investing and buying real estate.
Awesome.
Buying a house with a pool.
Oh, that really comes down to the individual. Like if you ask my wife when we had little kids, she's like, absolutely not. I'm too scared.
Yep.
If you ask Jay's wife, she would say, no, Jay doesn't want to take care of it. And then you have somebody else that's like, it's the greatest ever. The kids are there every weekend. That's where we take all our prom pictures. It's so specific to the person. It is not universal.
Okay. Mortgage rates at 6 to 7%. Hot or not for buyers right now?
Right now, it's hot. And right now, buyers need to make the act now. Because what's going to happen is with all the pressure on the rates, and we're going to start to see them come down, they come down, all the buyers get off the fence. So if I'm a buyer today, I'm trying to buy now with less competition, and then I'll just refi later, whether it's 6 months or a year or 2 years.
Smart.
If I wait 2 years and rates have come down a lot, I'm also competing, I'm paying more, and all of a sudden the rate change didn't really do anything because I'm having to pay more.
What about same environment for a seller's standpoint?
Yeah, seller, it's going to come down to what you need. So if you're getting a divorce and you're like, I don't want to live with this person anymore, it's time to sell.
Yep.
If you're like, we could sell now or we could wait another 2 years, it might be better to wait. But if you tell me we're waiting, but when we sell, we're going to go down to Florida and start enjoying our retirement, come on, 2 years, let's go.
Yep.
Get down there and enjoy.
Now I know you introduced me to this question I'm about to ask, so I think I know the answer, but Google reviews for your business?
Yeah, if you are listening to this, if you go to the site reviewwwt.com, click on the star on the far right, say anything about how entertaining or fun or interesting I am, and then hit submit. I would appreciate it. We're at 2,300 5-star reviews, and we truly take that personal that we want to make sure we're always delivering on that. But it's going to come down to AI. How does AI know how to tell you who the best is in anything? Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to reviews. It's going to come down to podcasts. It's going to come down to local experts.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to like SEO and answer optimization. Like what do you see? Do you see it more leaning towards?
Yeah, SEO is falling off. That was so big for so long. But now when we Google something, we get
AI first.
Well, now, because I actually just met with the Google people 2 weeks ago, and I sat down in a room with 10 people, and we got really deep into what they're doing. And what they told me is when people are searching on Google and we give them 10 links, people don't want links anymore. They want the answer.
Yeah.
If my son says, what's the largest snake in the world? He doesn't want 8 links on how to find that. He just wants somebody to tell him, oh, it's the... I can't remember. It's the anaconda, and it's as large as a school bus. Yeah. And he loved it, and he thought this was great, and that was all he wanted. So we understand that the future is not search with a bunch of links. It's the answer. Okay. And that answer has to come from somewhere. So how are they going to determine it? That's where you have to
I think that's why it's important that you're putting out a ton of content.
Yeah, it's content, it's branding, and it's across different platforms. So if I do everything to make my personal website SEO friendly, and I'm the only where you can find me is on my personal site, AI doesn't see me as an expert. Yeah. But if I'm on my site and your site, and I'm in this podcast, and I'm doing this video, and I'm on YouTube, and I'm over here, all of a sudden, all of that together makes me more of an expert.
Okay. We see this a little bit somewhat in our industry, not as much, but I see it more in yours. Realtors using TikTok.
Oh, man, I can't dance, so it's not huge for me. No, here's what we actually just trained on this morning. We have an 8:30 call right before I come in here. So in our 8:30 call, we talked about like, first, you have to understand that 94% of people are not buying or selling a house right now. It's only about 6 or 7%. So when you're posting, you're doing all these stories, 94 out of 100 don't care about the square footage and number of bedrooms and bathrooms. But what is interesting is we have a new listing coming up, and it's directly between John Brown and the filling station. Oh, wow. So we talk about, what's your favorite? Are you a John Brown coffee or are you a filling station? Yeah. The filling station is great because they have the little back area and the little stream running through, and the kids throw rocks in the stream while you enjoy your coffee on a Saturday morning.
But the best burger is John Brown.
Exactly. Or do I go to John Brown because they've got the butcher shop and and all of a sudden, like, that lifestyle piece is so much more important. People want to know the dog park that's nearby or the farmer's market that's really popular on Saturdays. They want to know, what is it like to live there? And that is universal.
Yeah. So great, because I was going to ask my next question. For a purchaser, what's more important, the home or the neighborhood?
Yeah, I think it's the neighborhood. I think it's the neighborhood and the location. The house you can change. You don't like the paint color? Easy. Flooring? Easy. We see more changes in kitchens and bathrooms now than ever. So I think if you have the bones, it's more about the neighborhood because you can make those changes later. However, when you start to look at the older homes that only have 8-foot ceilings or it's only one level and you need more square footage, that's where it gets expensive. So it's probably not the home for you. But if you can find something with the bones in the neighborhood, you can change and adjust and make it yours.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good question.
Well, I think we hit our hot or not. You went, that was pretty good.
Was that a lightning round?
That was really good. Now we're going to move into our plead the fifth segment, and I used
plead the fifth in his lexicon.
Yeah, I don't think so. But what's interesting is I used a lot of chat with some of these questions, and I asked them to be really, really hard. So, do you want to explain the rules, Morgan?
Yep. So we're going to ask a series of questions. You have to answer all of them. You get to plead the fifth on one.
One. Okay.
One.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't know how many questions we're asking. We can ask one. It could be the toughest question out there. But the reality is you have one. Plead the fifth. Okay.
Ready.
All right. Morgan?
All right. The worst house you've ever walked into. What's it like?
Okay, so this is a weird one. It was not the house, it was the occupant. There was a man on the couch in his tighty whities, just laying there. Yeah. And his response to us walking in the door, I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He was like, "It's cool. Come on in."
No.
No, I don't think I will.
That's interesting. What's the craziest request you've gotten from a buyer or seller?
Here's a crazy one that I actually didn't mind looking back, but I had a family that was moving from out of state. They had never lived in Maryland. They were looking at private schools. The husband was not there. I was like 25 at the time. And the wife said, "Will you go with me to schools and tour these different schools?" So we toured like Boys Latin and Gilman. And I was like, okay, I got no kids. I'm like, all right. So I walked around with this woman like I was her husband and toured schools. And I thought it was the weirdest thing, but I actually really liked like hearing the different schools' philosophies and all that. But it was a little.
Now Jack's going to be going to Gilman.
Yeah, exactly. And that was actually the one that I was like most impressed with.
Right.
Have you ever had a buyer interested in a home and you felt either the neighborhood or the area wasn't right for them? And you tried to discourage them?
100%. So the thing I'll tell all of my buyers is I will talk you into a house and I will talk you out of a house. With every house you choose, I'm going to tell you all the reasons why you should buy it and all the reasons why you shouldn't, and I'm not going to hold back. And I think that if you're a buyer and you have all the information, you can decide for yourself. I've had people that I'm like, that power line is too close. There's all this research about cancer and all this other things. You cannot do this. And they were like, the value, we're getting $100,000 off the house. We're doing it. The resale is going to be terrible. Like you're going to have to discount when you sell. I gave them everything that I thought and they still wanted it. Wow. So I just believe that if I tell you every reason not to buy a house and every reason to buy it, you can make that decision.
I like that.
Yep.
All right, I think this is going to be, I don't know. I think you'll do it.
Plead the fifth.
Which Maryland neighborhood is the most overrated right now?
That is a good one. I got to go into the city. Guys, I'm sorry for all my city folk.
Oh, okay.
But they got to fix crime and they got to fix taxes. And right now, both are outrageous. And if they fix that, Baltimore's such an amazing place, but they let it get worse and worse and worse, and it's, just not there anymore.
I thought I had him.
Yeah.
I thought I had him there.
Yeah.
I told you, I'll tell you the bad.
Who's your toughest competitor here in Maryland?
Oh, toughest competitor. There's a bunch. Bob Lucido is a big competitor. He sells a lot of real estate. I have a lot of respect for what he built. Still think we're better. Andrew Undum has got a quick tongue. He's out of Harford County. So if you're only in his neighborhood, he's the agent for you. Outside of his neighborhood, me. Lee Tessay is a great agent. I mean, there's a lot, not a lot. There's a handful of really good agents that I have a lot of respect for, and I do a lot of masterminding with, and we spend time together. I don't compete all the time because there's so many realtors. Sure. But like if somebody called me, I would easily tell them the top 5 agents they could choose if they didn't want to work with me.
Okay.
All right. I think I got you. Have you ever Googled yourself to see how you rank against other realtors?
100%. 100%. I will tell you an embarrassing story. So we didn't get into it, but I had a TV show, and it was called Waterfront House
I
Hunting.
remember this.
Yeah, Waterfront House Hunting. We shot 14 episodes all over the country. I was in every different state. And I remember one episode, I think it was in St. Michael's, actually. Okay. I took my shirt off, and I jumped in the bay. And then the producer was like, that was great. So the next episode, they were like, take your shirt off and jump in the pool. Take your shirt off and jump in a boat. And there was a time where if you put in Nick Waldner, it would follow up with the suggestion, shirt off.
Shirt off. Wow.
It doesn't do that anymore. Do not go Google that.
Everyone go Google that. Please, everyone go Google that. Just add it. All right. Who gives you more headaches?
My wife. Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. Clients, lenders, or inspectors?
Oh, definitely lenders.
Okay.
Definitely lenders. Clients are, they're there to ask questions and understand the process. Like, they're amazing. Inspectors are there to protect our clients. Okay. So they're amazing. Lenders, the wrong lender can make everything fall apart, can make everything more difficult. If you have the right one, they're fantastic. But if you choose the wrong one, man, is that a headache.
And you've introduced us to some great lenders. So.
Yeah. Like you guys have worked with Blake before over at DML, Blake Hyatt. He's fantastic. So when we recommend somebody and they use it, it's smooth, it's easy, it's simple. Yeah. When they show up and they're like, my brother's uncle, my cousin from a third marriage, I know this guy from college. I'm like, oh God.
Wow. So do you have one more?
I do have a question, but it's not quite plead the fifth.
Okay.
I'll let you say for the last one of that one. How do you manage when a seller's expectation, because it's kind of this double whammy, right? This is our home. So they have all the emotional tie to it. Then they also have the financial potential of what they think there's there. How do you manage those expectations when they come in with a number and you know that they're so far off of reality?
Are you saying that a seller thinks that their patio that they put in with their bare hands make their house worth $50,000 more?
Yeah.
Because I've had that. It's funny because the only reason I'm even in business is to take the emotion out of it. Yeah. Every seller thinks their house is worth this much. Every buyer thinks it's worth this much. Yeah. And I've got to get them to come and see the middle ground that makes sense for both of them. So when it comes to sellers, it's not emotion, it's logic. Yeah. So we sit down and we look at, all right, let's look at your house and let's compare it to the recent houses that sold. Your house is a little smaller, but it has an updated kitchen. This house is a little bit bigger and it has a 4th car garage or 3rd car garage. This house has this, your house has this. And then we just walk through the numbers. So, you're a rich guy, so you probably live in like a $1.5 million house. So I would show you houses from 1.2 to 1.7, and we would walk through those houses, and at some point you would say, wow, that one at 1.6 is so much nicer than mine. Yeah. Okay, well, we can't go that high. Yeah. But Nick, I put the patio in myself.
Yeah.
So it's all logic. It's helping them see, take your seller hat off, put a buyer hat on. Here's your 3 options. Yeah. Which house would you choose if you didn't know any of them?
We say it's so funny because it's the exact same with our business. Our job is to give you the financial numbers and what makes sense. You have to handle the emotion side of it, right? Yeah. Whether you're comfortable with it or not. And, most people get there. Sometimes it's a struggle.
Sure.
Well, you guys, I'm guessing a typical annual return is like 28% every year.
Not exactly.
Because that's what I would like.
Like,
As would we.
So again, realistic versus unrealistic.
Exactly.
Expectations.
But somebody comes to you and says, hey, I really want to I'll be very risky. I want to get 25% every year. It's just not reasonable.
Not reasonable.
And those are the
you're
type
setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly.
Last question, I promise. Do realtors secretly judge people's furniture and decor?
I plead the fifth.
I knew I'd get them. Well, Nick, first and foremost, I want to thank you for being part of our podcast. Where can everyone find the Waldner Winters team?
Yeah, Waldner Winters, Waldner, Winters, like the season with an S, team.com. You can go see all of that stuff. You can go on any of my social pages, at Nick Waldner or Waldner Nick, one of the other social media, like all those things. You can reach out to me. My email is simple. It's Nick@Waldner Winters Team. So if you have a question or you want to reach out or you have any thought at all, reach out. And it doesn't have to be about real estate. Like I coach a lot of businesses and a lot of small business owners and things like that. Like I'm open to having conversations. I think one of the coolest things that I've seen over the years is something called a mentor lunch. And it's trying to set up a lunch, whether it's once a month or even once a week, with somebody who's at a higher level than you. And you show up and you have lunch and you create some camaraderie, but you also have 5 or 6 questions and you ask them every single time. And I think you end up learning a lot about business.
Yeah. You want to find out where those landmines are. And if I can avoid those, I'm going to step on plenty of them. As a business owner, you're going to, but how many can I avoid through someone else's experience? And again, that's really the whole purpose of this podcast, really how it started. And, we're fortunate enough that we get to work with a lot of successful people, and having those people share is critical. And I have found, to a person, people who have great success don't work from a position of scarcity.
Yeah.
There's not what's the competition? Well, the competition is really me.
Yeah.
What can I do and how much can I grow this? And the willingness to share is critical. So thank you so much.
I actually find that a lot of my mentors that have succeeded at the highest level, they're willing to share and teach and lean into me as long as I show up. I am taking notes. I am eager to learn. That's exactly what they want. I can't tell you how many founders and how many CEOs are like, man, I would love my kids to take over my business, but they have no desire. So I show up and I'm almost like a surrogate son because I'm interested and I want to learn from them, and I want to get some of that knowledge and some of those failures, and they love to share it because their kids and wife don't want to hear it.
Exactly. Well, that's all we have for today, folks. I appreciate you being part of our show today. And check in probably in the next 2 weeks for our next episode.